I think I came to the economic history really more from a combination of social and environmental history. So it was, and for me still is, it's about the economy broadly construed, sort of how we make our livings and what that does to both the material world around us and the ways we relate to each other. What brought me to China was a kind of combination of odd things. I mean, I had actually done a lot more European history as an undergraduate, got to my senior year and took a China course, almost as a lark. I won't quite say as a lark, but also out of this sense that, well, here's this huge chunk of the world I know nothing about. I ought to know something about it. Of course, there were other huge chunks of the world I also knew nothing about, so there was some arbitrariness in this. But it was also a sense, I think, for me, that China was different enough to force me, that learning about it forced me to rethink what I thought I already knew about the parts of the world I knew a little better. But it wasn't so different that I couldn't figure out sort of how to use it as leverage on the things I did know. Probably my closest friend was an anthro major. And so he'd come back from class with, things he'd learned about societies that didn't have cities, in some cases didn't write. And I found it all very interesting, but I couldn't figure out how to use it as leverage on the parts of the world that I already knew something about. Maybe if I was a little more imaginative, I could have. Certainly he's done just fine doing that in the course of his career. But China was both different enough that I felt it gave me that lever, and similar enough that I knew which end of the lever to hold. And then I guess the other thing that was very much in the back of my mind, but was always there a little bit, was, well, I'd done a bunch of European history. I had English as a birthright. I had some French and German. And the sense that if I ever wanted to do anything comparative, I could parachute back in to the literature on the modern West. If I didn't learn Chinese and Japanese in my 20s, I wasn't going to learn them in my 40s. So there was that as well. And then there was just the feeling, this was circa 1980, that it was this big, broad field that was opening up, right? Diplomatic relations had come the year before. I didn't know it at the time, but the archives had just opened to foreigners. There was this sense of a big field to play on.